What is going on, guys? Chip here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG video. Joined today by regular guest at this point, Alex Hill. Man, just absolutely exploded here in 2018, second half of the season, coming off of his top 4 finish in Portland this weekend. How's it going, Alex? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm great. I actually just had a really great stream.
Yeah.
Amazing weekend, so I can't ask for much more.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats once again. It's like, what is this? Your third or fourth top 8 of the year so far of 2018?
Yeah, third.
Third. So
the last 4 weeks have been third, ninth, third.
Wild, absolutely crazy.
It's like easily the like best stretch I've ever gone on in my Pokemon career. Like even half of this would be the best stretch. Like I'm not usually very streaky. Like I'd go like top 16 London, and then like a top 32, and then a miss, and then a top 32 regionals, then top 8 Oceania. Like even last year when I was doing really well, it was it wasn't way more up and down than this. Yeah.
Well, you found a hot streak, man, and I hope you continue to ride it on, and we'll see where it takes you. But we are looking at the Tapu Bulu Vikavolt deck you decided to play, and as someone who knows you, I know you've been a Bulu defector for a lot of your Pokemon, since the deck came out. Haven't been a big fan of the deck, so I'm excited to hear this story, which led to you playing Tapu Bulu Vikavolt for Portland Regionals.
Yeah, apparently somebody was telling me on my stream today that apparently on the Six Prizes podcast at one point I had said I would never play Bulu or something to that effect. So it's really funny. Yeah, so the weekend, me and Azul and Jimmy, Igor, and Michael Slusky, we all went out on like Wednesday. Just to hang out in Portland. We had a lot of good food. Went to this like really good brunch place, some really good mac and cheese, really good chicken. But we also, it's something that like the Magic pros do before the pro tours is they'll go and like rent a house out for a week and just sit and test just over and over again. And it makes a little more sense for them for their pro tours because they also have to do draft.
Okay. So
they play draft, and then they also play whatever the constructed format is. And so, like, they need to get a lot of reps in, especially on draft. But it's something, it came back to London, actually, where Slusky kind of first floated the idea, like, oh, what if we took some extra time to go to Portland? You always talk about, like, how the Magic players do that. And so we played a lot of Pokemon. We were testing, like, a lot of Lucario. But, I mean, like, everything was sitting on the table, like Gliscod Zoroark, Lycanroc Zoroark, Sylveon, Bulu. All these decks, and I mean, even though we had like two solid days to test, not enough.
Yeah.
Wasn't feeling good about the format. Just didn't have anything I wanted to play. I went to bed on Friday, just kind of like no idea what I'm playing. I was really like my fallback was probably gonna be Buzzwole or maybe like a Lucario list, probably similar to what Christopher was running. Christopher and I didn't like work on the Lucario list together that he played, but like we both had like 3 catchers in our lists. I knew that I wanted something for the Lucario mirror, so like he had 3 Kukui, so like that would have been a consideration. We had like double Buzzwole, so you would snipe 30 to each Lucario, or to the Riolu, so you're not doing enough to like activate the GX attack, but enough that your Lucario can one-shot their Lucario. But yeah, no, we hadn't tested Lucario deck enough to like be confident in it, and we didn't want to walk in and like have the worst Lucario deck in the room or have one that was bad in mirror and kind of just get embarrassed. We thought it'd be played a lot. So yeah, I didn't know what I was gonna play, and I wake up in the morning and I walk out and I'm like, all right, Azul, what are we gonna play? And he's like, Kikabulu. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, Kikabulu. And Kika walks up, he's like, Kikabulu. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I have no reason not to. Like, I think I never played a game with a deck. I had, before the tournament, with any real thought that I was actually going to play it. I'd played Bulu like a handful of times, just on TCGO, just testing matchups or something. And I'd played against it a good amount of times, but I'd never played the deck. I just went and got the cards and sleeved it up and turned it in. And that was that.
That was that. So going from not really knowing what to play to, going from a Bulu defector to a Bulu believer, and just a couple of conversations there. So definitely interesting and not something I would have expected. You know, I definitely would have expected you or Azul, honestly, to play the deck. Definitely would have expected Peter to play it though. So I guess did you really work on the list that much, or did you guys just kind of like adapt Peter's Charlotte list slightly for what you were expecting for this tournament?
Yeah, we were just gonna take the Charlotte list actually. I don't know where it started, but we decided that we wanted second nest ball over the second heavy ball.
Okay.
Just get more Grubbins down. I think this sounds like an Azul thing. I think I know Azul wanted it. I don't know how it got brought up, but that's what we ended up going with, which was funny because obviously I didn't like know the difference too much, but there were several times, or at least once, where I prized the heavy ball, and so I went Lele, and I was going to go Lele for Skyla for heavy ball for Vikavolt to Arcana to it, but I prized the heavy ball, and so I didn't have cards in my hand. I wanted to Ultra Ball. So I know I got burned by the switch at least once, but I'm sure that just hitting the raw level ball, or the times where I only had one level ball on the deck, it was probably, I keep saying level ball.
Yeah, nest ball, yeah.
Nest ball, yeah. Having that in the deck was I don't know. It was better for consistency overall. I didn't really have problems setting up, but
sure.
You know, I didn't really consider the list much, but even now, there's not really much I'd want to change about it.
Were you feeling sketchy about going in with no Bridget? I know that's been kind of the mainstay of Kika Bulu, as it's called, ever since, you know, he posted his list a few months ago, is not playing Bridget. Is that something like you ever felt like you would have liked, or did you think the Lily plus double nest ball combo was enough?
It's not really something I had thought about. I know Kika had just been like very adamant that you don't need it. And I think a lot of me actually choosing to play the deck in Portland was after seeing Kika do well with it in Charlotte. Because like he had played through 15 rounds and then been bubbled cut. Like he should have made cut. If he hadn't been paired down, he just would have been able to ID in. And he said he never wanted it, or I think he never wanted it in Portland, and he only wanted it like once or twice in Charlotte.
Okay.
And so I was like, you know, this is fine. If you believe in this much, then I'm good with it.
Okay. Well, sounds good to me. And I'll give you a chance here if you just want to run through what that tournament looked like. You kind of already hit on the deciding on the deck. So if you want to talk about what day one of the tournament looked like for you, go ahead, man.
Okay. Yeah, so round one, I played against a Glaceon deck, which was great because you don't really care. He did also play the it was like a Glaceon toolbox. He also played like the baby Ninetales, which was a little bit annoying. But I mean, Oranguru one shots it, Mew one shots it, Vikavolt one shots it if you really need to. And I just chased down the Vulpixes once I knew that that's what he was doing. So that was pretty easy.
Sure.
Round two, I'm trying again. I told Chip before we started I didn't remember what round two was. But yeah, no, I don't remember it, but I won.
Yeah.
Round three, I played against Glisspot Zoroark, which it's just a pretty easy matchup. The only thing you really care much about are parallels. And it can hurt you no matter which side it's on, but you really prefer the blue side towards you, like limiting your bench, because you need to do the whole 210 to one-shot a Zoroark. So I don't remember if it was this game or a different game I played against Zoroark, but I know one of them, they put one down on the blue side towards me, and I had already Vikavolt on bench, Bulu on bench, and like an empty spot or like a Grubbin in the other spot, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'll never have to find field blowers again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know several times in this game, I had to go digging for blowers because he was limiting my damage. But with 3 blowers, you find it pretty easily. Like 3 blowers to Skyla is really not that bad.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I 2-0'd this. The matchup is really easy if you just draw your cards. Round 4, I played against Keon on stream. This is the start of me messing up or my inexperience with the deck. You know, there were a lot of moments throughout the day where I kind of just the whole tournament where I just did stupid stuff and just because I was inexperienced with it. I think the first game Keon is playing Zoroark, Lucario.
Yeah.
The first game he gets all 4 Zoroarks on like either turn 2 or turn 3. And I'm just behind too much and can't win. Game 2, I have pretty firm control. And this is the one, it gets down to the end, and I have several turns. He like ends me to 2, and I have several turns to draw out. But I hit like Field Blower for his parallel, play a Lele, which automatically wins me the game. I just go Guzma knockout, Guzma strong charge win. But I didn't realize that I could Guzma. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought I needed energy or something, and so I grabbed Sycamore, and Kian's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm just trying to Sycamore." And he's like, "You just win." I was like, "Oh." And he just told me, he's just like, "Just do it." He's just like, "Just do it." And so he told me, "Just put the Sycamore back, get the Guzma, do your strong charge correctly, win." So, whatever. And so I did. And then...
that's so Kian. That's so funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in the game 3, I won. I don't know. It wasn't too interesting. I do know at one point in this series, he ended me, and I looked at the top card of my deck, and I was like, "Oh, what am I doing?" Mm-hmm. Because like Kian was staying with us, and in my head I was just sitting back at the kitchen table playing a game of testing against Kian, and like I normally would in a testing game. If I get end, I'll look at the top card of my deck and kind of consider for a minute. If I hadn't gotten end, what would I do here? But I looked at the term, I'm like, that's so dumb. But no, I think I got kind of like indirectly called out for it on Twitter.
Yeah.
But at least it wasn't too bad, I guess.
Yeah. I think there was a little bit more drama going on throughout the weekend.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit more that people were a little bit more distracted.
Yeah.
Round 5, I played against a Buzzwole, and it was kind of just the matchup is actually not that bad. Mm-hmm. But it's bad when they hit all their elixirs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone who's played a lot of Buzzwole the past few months. Mm-hmm. I feel like you've always felt like that was a pretty good matchup for Buzzwole.
Yeah, when Keegan and I played it, this is when I decided to play Buzzwole for sure before Collinsville, is 2 nights before the tournament. Keegan and I played the Buzzwole versus Magnezone matchup a bunch and the Buzzwole versus Bulu matchup a bunch, and even in the Bulu matchup is slightly Buzzwole favored. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, it's funny. Kika even said this after he played against Alex Shemansky in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. As well, he hit all the elixirs, and so I just can't win.
Okay.
If they spread out their energies to enough attackers, and they can if they lead with Buzzwole, and then they can end up getting 2 prizes with that, and then 2 prizes with a Pseudo, and then 2 prizes with Lycanroc. Mm-hmm. That's really it. But you pressure them enough that you can run them out of energy, or get them to a point where they don't have enough energies on their board to win, or to get a knockout. And if they miss one attack, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You don't miss an attack. But yeah, the set won 3 games, but basically just in the last game, he had enough energy on the board that there was nothing I could do. I tried, and you can't really end them. I tried ending him, but he had an Artillery, and just drew the Guzman to win. Mm-hmm. Round 6, I played against another Glaceon, and I tried to throw. I know there were 2 things in this match that I did that were really bad. I don't remember one of them, but one of them was I knew he was playing Glaceon. It was in the first game. I had a Lele in hand, no supporter, and I didn't play the Lele, but he missed the Float Stone to retreat into the Glaceon, so I didn't get punished for it.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. One of those things. I've said this before. I think. It's when I play the decks on stream, I make all these mistakes once, and then I get to the tournament and I remember all the mistakes that I've made, and I don't do it. Mm-hmm. But during this tournament, I made all the mistakes during the tournament, little mistakes here and there.
Well, hey, maybe next time you stream, you won't make those mistakes.
Yeah, next time that I stream, I'll play Bulu perfectly.
Yeah.
But so I won this against the Glaceon. Round 7, I'm paired against Passimian.
Okay.
And I had seen him playing before, and I knew it was Passimian. I was not feeling good about the matchup, but then him and Kiko were talking before, and he didn't even. It was Alex Cook.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how to say his name.
Yeah.
Perfect. But him and Kiko were talking. Kiko was a couple tables lower from us, and they were saying the match was 50-50, maybe a little bit in my favor. So that kind of pumped me up a little bit. The first game, I go first, I end him, and he goes, "Oh, perfect, my hand was so bad, I was going to have to encounter with him." He started Mew.
Yeah.
And I go, and I pass. And then he goes, and he attaches and uses encounter. Yeah. I'm like, ooh. And I had, Candy Be Cool energy knockout.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's really funny.
And then the second game, he also has a dead hand. Not, super dead. He has enough to keep to get going. But, it was funny. This matchup was actually very similar to when I played against Passimian in Charlotte. when Grafton was playing it, when I was playing Zoroark Lycanroc.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is get going, get your attackers going turn 2, and just attack every turn. And basically if they miss one attack, then you have a chance. And if they miss 2, you win. Mm-hmm. Just how the prize trade goes. And he missed enough attacks, and I won the game. It was pretty unfortunate for him. He just got nothing going.
Yeah, I think he started like 5-0 at the tournament and then ended up missing out on day 2. So that's...
Yeah, he went, and see the record, 5-3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was 5-1
when
in
you
this
guys
round.
played. Yeah.
And then so that sucked for him. Round 8, I played Lance Bradshaw. Well, we ID'd. It was kind of funny. We sit down and he was like, "Oh, should we ID?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And then he's like, "Oh, this is a really good matchup for me." And I was like, "No, I don't think so. He's like, "You can't do with Garb." And I'm like, "I have 3 blowers and 2 Skylas. Like, I'll find my blowers eventually." Mm-hmm. So we'll get back to that later.
Mm-hmm. Was this
round 9?
Garb?
No, it was Buzzwole Garb.
Buzzwole Garb, okay.
And then round 9, I played Ben Potter, and at the table, and he said, "Do you want to tie?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." It was kind of funny.
Day 2.
Well, for one, this is what I was trying to do back at Collinsville. Was ID the last 2 rounds make cut for sure. And so it's kind of funny to finally get it now. But in Collinsville, it worked out that I played the 2 games. You know, I very much considered playing the games, but you know, my thought process was that the metagame was so good for Bulu that I really just wanted to make day 2, and then I thought I'd be fine. Mm-hmm. So I just took the double IDs.
Yeah.
And then also, it was very weird. I got done and I left the venue, and I was like, did I even play Pokemon today? I mean, for one, Bulu was just like not really thinking a lot.
Pretty straightforward.
I just kind of like got cards out, played them. That was it. But the thing, I mean, my last 2 rounds I ID'd. Round 7, my opponent dead drew a bunch. I played 2 Glaceons, which are very easy matchups. Mm-hmm. And I never, like, day 1, I didn't go anywhere near time. Mm-hmm. So it was just very weird. You know, not the long regional day of Pokemon I expected.
Yeah.
And I think we got done at like 9 o'clock or something too. So.
Oh, dang.
Felt good.
Yeah, for sure. So after getting rested up between day 1 and day 2, let us know what that day 2 field looked like for you. Or, well, first off, before heading in, lots of weird stuff in the day 2 field. I remember you tweeted at one point in the tournament a quote from Kenny Britton saying that, man, these top tables at this tournament look like the bottom tables of other tournaments with Bulu, Passimian, Sylveon, Hoopas, just like a bunch of wacky stuff. Mm-hmm. So is there anything heading into the day 2 field that you were worried about playing up against?
No.
Okay.
The only thing that I was worried about were Garbodor decks.
Okay.
I mean, like a lot of the rest of the field was it was pretty much only Lucario, some Buzzwole, Sylveon, Greninja, attacking Hoopa, Kika the other Bulu. I think that's almost it. Or a couple like Zoroark decks.
Yeah, and then Buzzwole.
But I might have actually just named all the decks in top 32. Mm-hmm. The top 32 though was stacked. Like there were so many good players in top 32.
Yeah, lots of names.
So, and speaking of which, my round 10 was against Rahul.
Okay.
Which was very funny because I had just beaten him last weekend in Charlotte in the win-in, which is Rahul's a good friend of mine, and that was the first time we'd ever played. And so he's like, "Oh, I'm coming for revenge." But unfortunately for Rahul, no revenge was to be found here. His hands were atrociously bad. Like I think one of the games he scooped at like 4 prizes because I was set up and he like artilleried and had like a hand of like Riolu 4 energies.
Oh gosh.
And he just like put it down and scooped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the matchup is pretty good. He was playing like a straight Lucario deck with super scoop ups. So if his was like Christopher's that had heavy catchers or like Ross's that had Buzzwole or like some of the ones that had, I guess he had Lycanroc, but I mean the Scupas were basically a dead card in the matchup. I'm not going to 2-shot him.
Right.
And then I have Mew to make it really good. Yeah. Like that version of Lucario was easily the best one for me to face, so nice to get a pretty easy win, unfortunate for Rahul.
Yeah.
Round 11, I played against Ross Coffin. And, you know, I even told him when I sat down, I'm like, you are, like, the one player of, like, especially, like, the top players that I have the worst record against. I've never beaten Ross in a tournament, but I think we only played in 2014.
Okay.
We played like 4 times in one weekend of cities, and then also at nationals. And I lost all the sets in the cities, and then we tied at nationals.
Okay. But haven't
so
played him since then?
I haven't played him since. Well, I mean, I used to live in Michigan, and so when he was in Illinois, we would see each other at cups a little bit.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, he's been down to Georgia for some cups too, and we just haven't played at those either. But he's playing a Lucario list, and I think his Lucario list was the best at the tournament.
Okay.
Because it had max elixirs. So the max elixirs give you a way to power up like your Buzzwoles, which gives you a way to one-shot their Lucarios, either just by Knuckle Impact with a strong and a Choice Band, or like 2 Regirocks and a Choice Band, or something like that. But it gives you a good way to one-shot their Lucarios that they can't do anything about. As well as just giving you kind of more utility in other matchups. It was basically just a Buzzwole deck with Lucarios instead of Lycanrocs. I feel like I would have missed the Lycanrocs. I mean, you get rid of the need for that GX attack a little bit by having Lucario as a good attacker.
Yeah.
But not having the Gust would hurt your matchup, I think, against stuff like Vikavolt or like Magnezone, anything that's like trying to set up. You just want the Gusts. Game 1, I set up really well, beat him pretty easily. Game 2, I think, I don't know. I don't remember. I lost. And then Game 3 was sad. I start having a decent setup, but he hits Guzma Grubbin knockout. Next turn, like Octillery Guzma Grubbin knockout. And really, honestly, just that was the nail in the coffin. Not only was I was not set up enough, but also he had just gotten too much of a prize lead.
Yeah.
And his Buzzwole was just going uncontested. So eventually you get just attach 3 times to it and just get another one-shot with that. And I mean, if a Buzzwole takes 4 prizes, you're not going to win the game.
Sure.
It doesn't really, like, you would have to do like Trash Lance or something to win. I don't know. But yeah, so I lost to Ross. And I was just kind of like, it wasn't the tournament, like taking the loss in the tournament. I just wanted to beat Ross.
Yeah.
But next time. Round 12, I played against a Zoroark Lycanroc, which I think is a very good matchup. Except for what happens in the first game, which was I put down a Grubbin, he Guzma. I put down a Grubbin, he Lycanroc. I put down a Grubbin, he Guzma, you know. And I just never set up. But I was still like 1 turn away from winning. Because you can go like 30, 150, blow up a Vikavolt, you know, and you can still take 4 prizes pretty easily. It's just charging up 1 more attacker and getting the last knockout that's difficult. But then games 2 and 3 I won pretty easily. I mean, they don't really get to do anything against a turn 2 Vikavolt.
Yeah.
And I mean, the list plays 4 Choice Bands and the 3 blowers. So you always, like, not always, but you can pretty easily find the Choice Bands to get the one-shots, and you can find the blowers to get rid of the parallels whenever they're annoying you.
He didn't play Devoured Field or anything like that?
Nope. I didn't see any Devoured Fields. I don't even think I saw Kukui.
Okay. So he didn't have a way to one-shot a Bulu.
Yeah, I didn't have a good... Yeah, he never one-shotted me. Round 13, I'm paired against Lance Bradshaw, who is who I did with round 8. And so I kind of said, I'm like, we get to see who wins now. And it was a really good series.
Yeah.
This was probably one of the best series I played on the weekend. I don't remember a lot of details. I think I win game 1, lose game 2, kind of just like, do I find blowers or not? Do I get set up early enough or not? Does he run over me with an early Buzzwole? That kind of stuff. But the third game was kind of just a slugfest back and forth. But I take a lead in the mid game where I kind of take back-to-back like uncontested knockouts, and then I get hit with like the Garbodor N. And I think I found like a blower, but like missed something else for a knockout, or maybe I took 1 prize because he attacked with the Carbink or something. But it gets to a point where I have a Buzzwole ready to attack with a Choice Band. All I need is 1 energy just to attack with it. So I either need blower or energy. I have a handful of outs in my deck, like Sycamore's, Lily maybe, a Cynthia, I think 1 or 2 blowers, you know. And I get end to 1, and first card don't hit it. And the second card flipped, and it's Grass Energy. And so I got the knockout, and I got the win. Really close game. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then round 14, I thought... So there were a couple options or outcomes for round 14 based on round 13. If Kiko won, I thought we were going to play a mirror match because we were going to be the only 2 players at our record at 29 points. We couldn't ID in. So like if I had ID'd the last round, I would have been like 50-50 chance between me and another 30-pointer to make it in. And it ended up that my resistance was terrible. So I knew I wasn't going to ID anyways. More so that I just didn't want to put myself on a bubble as opposed to even knowing my resistance was really bad. But then Kiko lost, so I thought I was going to play the same guy that he just beat. So I walk up and I'm like, Kiko, what's... It was a Zoroark Lycanroc. I was like, how many parallels? Was there a Kukui? You know, all this kind of stuff. And he told me, and I think he said there were 3 parallels. And so I was kind of spooked by that a little bit. But the way the pairings worked out was that there weren't enough people at my record for me to get paired, so I got down paired.
Okay.
And I got down paired to Danny Altavilla playing Quad Hoopa.
Okay.
Kika had tied him on stream the day before. I mean, we'll talk about, you don't have to talk about the whatever result of the match, but they tied, but he said it was a very good matchup, and he probably should have won. And I was kind of like, how do you play? And he's like, well, you attack with a Mew, you can attack with a Rangaroo, just conserve your energies. I was like, do you get out 2 Vikavolts? And he's like, yeah. Makes you to get out energies, and like, you can even use that to retreat if you need to. If you have double vehicle, they can't even stall something. But I mean, game 1, I kind of just swept. I mean, Rangaroo and Mew are just super good attackers. You use Mew to copy your Lele a lot of the time. And then you also want to use the Bulus to take prizes whenever you can. So if they have the Oranguru, either of the Orangaroos, active, then you just like you take knockouts with Bulu when you can, and then you have Vikavolt as like a backup attacker to win at the end of the game. But you really don't want to attack with that. You don't want to waste the energies. But I mean, game 1, I set up the game plan perfectly and win. Game 2, he just gets a fast start. And he's doing 90 a turn with a Fury Belt attached, which especially in a Pokemon that can't be attacked by EX is pretty good against the deck. I think I scooped that pretty quickly. And then game 3, I have a really good lead. I'm attacking with the Mew and with the Oranguru pretty early, doing fine. And I get to the point in the end of the game, he only has 1 energy on his active. And so I had a Mew with 3 energies on it. And so I strong charged 2 to the Mew to energy drive, get the knockout. The problem was I already had a bunch of energies on the board, like on an Oranguru and on a Bulu. And I only had 2 energies left, and they're in the discard pile. I had the Recycler, but if he goes Guzma or Vikavolt, I lose. I just don't have enough energy on the board. And I realized this in the middle of doing this play. But I didn't really know what to do. I should have just failed the strong charge, dumped the energies off the Mew, put them in the discard pile so I can Recycler for them back if I need them. But I don't know. I just wasn't thinking very well. I think I was kind of dehydrated and like hadn't eaten on the day, which will come up more later too. But yeah, I just made a really stupid play and just put the energy on the Mew, energy drive. He doesn't have the Guzma in hand, so the next turn I dump the energies off the Mew so that I can't get stalled out and end up winning. So that was hype. Yeah. It was crazy.
Against one of those like kind of wackier decks that wasn't super expected to be in the field. So, finding the way to make the win work, even if, little mistake there at the end, but you still found a way to come out on top. So,
and that was like an unintended consequence of playing Bulu, but a good one was that you beat those decks. You beat the attacking Hoopa, and I just remembered when I played round 2, it was Greninja. So you beat Greninja too because your grass Pokemon destroy them. And you can heal yourself. So like, I know somebody asked me this weekend, like, were you expecting the Sylveons, the Bulus, or the Sylveons, the Hoopas, the Greninjas to come out? I'm like, not particularly. I just played Bulu because I thought it was good against Lucario and kind of against the field. But it worked out well that it beats those decks too.
Yeah. So I know you said you hadn't eaten much during day 2 at that point. So did you find time between Swiss and top 8 to get yourself something to eat, or did you just kind of jump right into the
Well,
fire?
I should have found food, and I had time. I just didn't.
Okay.
I had some fries. I think I had some like Gatorade and M&M's to give me some energy, but I don't know. My problem too is usually like during the tournament, I'm not very hungry.
Yeah.
Or I kind of find it hard to eat. But I mean, at Collinsville, I kind of like forced myself to eat and had like some healthy snacks, like some fruit and some nuts and stuff, and that really helped. So I need to start doing that. And I've noticed that like at the tournaments where I have like a bag of trail mix and a water bottle in my backpack, I play much better.
Sure.
So I just need to listen to myself, apparently.
Okay, well, let us know what that top 8 looked like. What were you matched up against in top 8?
So I was matched up against Simon playing Sylveon.
Okay.
Originally, Christopher told me that I was going to be playing Hunter Butler, who was playing the Quad Hoopa deck, so I was really excited. But actually, in the last round, I think Xander scooped to Coulter, so they wouldn't play in top 8, or they had no chance to play in top 8. And then that like messed up not messed up, but that changed our resistances or the seeding. So I got Simon, which was fine because the Sylveon is also a super good matchup. But it didn't really go that way.
Okay.
The first game, I just didn't set up at all, and he just attacked a bunch and brought up the Gardevoir and attacked more, and I lost very quickly. Game 2, turn 2 Vikavolt. Choice Band blow up his Sylveon, and then dead draw for 10 turns. And you out there listening might be thinking the same thing that I was thinking, which was, man, good for Alex. Another top 8, that's great. But we're going home. But thankfully, that's not what happened. After he knocked out my first Vikavolt, or my first Bulu, I brought up another one, and I used Grass Choice Band to do 60 to his Gardevoir. So it had 60 HP just chilling the whole time, and then he just was attacking me. There were a couple times he did like ribbon once or twice, but for the most part he was just attacking, doing damage. And there's one crucial turn. I'd been setting up for this play for a couple turns. I'm like, this Gardevoir has to go. I need a way to kill it. I've got this Vikavolt. It's got an energy on it. If I can attach an energy and strong charge, I can Guzma with a Choice Band and knock out the Gardevoir. And I had all the pieces in my hand except for the Guzma, but literally nothing else. It was just the cards to do this. And I attached once and he hammered it, and then I attached and it stuck, and he knocked out my last Pokemon on the board, and I promote the Vikavolt, and I draw, and it's Guzma. And so I Guzma Gardevoir, attach, strong charge, knock out the Gardevoir, draw something off the prize. I drew Lele Bulu off the prizes, top deck Sycamore for turn. And we get back in the game.
Yeah.
Which was insane. And I think at that point, Simon just kind of was like, oh, no. And it kind of slipped away. And so I end up taking game 2. And then game 3, he just dead drew.
Okay.
I think he single puzzled on turn 1. And just started Hoopa, and I eventually was able to knock it out with Mew, and he benched an Eevee right before that, and just kind of found a way to do a little bit for a couple turns. That just really unfortunate,
Yeah.
But a bunch of just really bad games.
Yeah, that's definitely odd, and definitely not how you expect those games to go most of the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. Kika told me, he said he thought the match was essentially unlosable. And I asked him, do you attack them and just do 120 over and over again, or do you blow them up? He's like, blow them up. Just take the prizes and win. I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's not how I was expecting those games to go. I didn't really expect him to attack with Gardevoir that much. But, how was that?
Yeah, and that does happen with those Sylveon decks, with the 2 non-EV basics. If they start one of them, it's just really tough for them to kind of get their setup going, so it can happen. But
yeah.
All right, so what did top 4 look like?
Yeah, so top 4, I played Coulter, who was playing Espeon, which was probably the only deck in the field that I was nervous about playing. I wasn't super nervous about Garbodor itself. I was more nervous about Espeon's confusion. we didn't play choice or Floatstone. And if we had played Flowstone, I would have felt much better about the matchup. So I had a way to like retreat out of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the first game I just never got out of Vikavolt. It sucked. Lost that one pretty quickly. I also got a bunch of items in the discard pile pretty quick, trying to get out the Vikavolt.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if I had gotten it, he probably would have just run me over with Trash Lanch. The second game, I think he took some early prizes, and then I blew something up and ended him to 4, and he eventually dead drew.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third game, just not good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if it was, I think it was the third game, I'm not sure. I know that there was one point where he had energy on active, and I could have benched a Grubbin, but I chose not to because I didn't want him to divide it. And I remember thinking, I'm like, man, I know that I kind of held my hand in a way that the stream camera would be able to see it. And I was like, I wonder what Kika's going to say, because I know that he's going to, like, either I'm going to ask him about this or he's going to tell me, like, if I should have benched the Grubbin. And immediately, once I got home last night, he's like, remember that time when you had the Grubbin in hand and you didn't bench it because you thought he was going to divide you? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you should have benched it for sure. You forced the GX attack. And then you can't do it again, and you can just put down 2, like, even just put down 1 at that point, and you're fine. And then I think the worst part, and Kika mentioned this too, is that I think Coulter even missed the DCE that turn.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't attach one. He put a Psychic on something on the bench.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure that he didn't have one. I haven't gone back and watched to see if I could see his hand, but that was kind of sad.
Yeah.
But this game really comes down to one point. I have a Bulu active and it's confused. It has 1 energy on it. My hand is poop. Is lightning energy. And for turn, I top deck Blower.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a Rangaroo and a Vikavolt on the bench. And I think he had Parallel in play, but he definitely had a tool on his Garbodor. And so I lightning to my Mew on the bench. I Blower his Garbodor for sure. And then I instruct for 3. And I hit Ultra Ball, Heavy Ball, Rare Candy. And I thought, and I had another Grubbin on the bench, and so I'm like, I could Heavy Ball here, Rare Candy, and get 2 Vikavolts out. And then I'm thinking, like, okay, what does 2 Vikavolts do for me? And I'm like, not much. I can get 2 energy on the active, retreat to the Mew, then put 2 energies on that, and then I could copy a Rangaroo's attack, and I could do 160 to the Espeon, but it's not a knockout, and I really need to get a knockout here. But I have a Choice Band on my active, I didn't have Choice Band. I was like, I could go Ultra Ball these 2 cards away, get a Lele, get Sycamore, try to hit Choice Band, and then try to flip through Confusion to get the knockout. And that's what I went for, but only because I just for some reason just wasn't thinking right. I mean, for some reason I was dehydrated and just not taking care of myself, and also was not experienced with the deck enough to have like made these plays too much before. But for some reason in my head, I was thinking that I could only attach the 2 energies from the Strong Charge to the same Pokemon.
Okay.
So I go Grass Lightning active, and I go Grass Lightning to the Mew, but since I attached Lightning to the Mew for turn, I can't attack with it. But obviously, you can go Lightning Lightning active and Grass bench, retreat all 3 off the Bulu, bring up the Mew, use the Bulu's attack. You don't even have to discard the energies. Take a knockout. Take 2 prizes. Then he would have to kill the Mew, or else it just takes 2 more prizes, or 1, whatever. So he then has to kill the Mew. He goes down to odd prizes, and I'm in a good spot, and I have 2 Vikavolts. So it would have been really good, but I didn't see the play. I Sycamored. I got the Choice Band, but I missed the Confusion Flip. He knocks me out on his next turn, and the game was basically over at that point. I had like the slightest chance to like end him to 2. I ended him to 2, me to 5, and took a prize or 2 or something. And I had to just hope that he would like whiff Guzma for 2 or 3 turns. But if he did, I would be fine. And that's kind of just like, it's something that I feel like would be more apt to happen to like a Garbodor deck, because I mean they're shutting off even their own Lele's. Like they have no way to draw cards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This game he'd even used Big Wheel, so he had used Big Wheel earlier, and that's how I took prizes. Is I knocked out the Drample and I ended him. So he had no way to like really replenish his hand, but he had the Guzman one. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't really think I deserved to win that game. I wasn't playing right, or I wasn't playing well. So, and not really too upset about that.
Well, another top 4 in the books, another piece of glass on the shelf, and $1,500, makes losing feel a little better. So.
Oh yeah.
So congratulations to you, man. Doing it with a deck that you were less familiar with. I think one of the coolest things about your run here at the start of this year is that you've done it, like all 4 of your high placements at regionals have been with 4 different decks and in different, formats. Like even if the, format was technically still like breakthrough through Ultra Prism, like the meta is like totally different for these tournaments, right? So I think, I think that's the way to tell the like decent players apart from the great players is people who can perform well with multiple different decks across multiple different formats, and you've been able to accomplish that. So congratulations to you, man, and I'm looking forward to see where the rest of the season takes you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's something that I've kind of always said. People are like, how do you get better? And I'm like, you just need to play a lot, and you need to play with and against a bunch of different decks. So it's like I picked up Bulu the morning of the tournament. And I hadn't played very much. Like I hadn't like sat down and tested it. Like I'd never sat down and be like, I'm gonna test Bulu to play it at a tournament.
Yeah.
But I had played it against other decks to test, and I'd played against it to test, and I played against it at tournaments and stuff. But I mean, just getting reps in against a deck will give you a really good idea of like what the deck's trying to do, where you can take advantage of it, so you can kind of fill those holes when you're playing the deck. Like Buzzwole here is looking for I don't know, Guzma Strong, Regirock to one-shot the Vikavolt or something, Yeah. And so you be like, well, because of that, I'm going to bench another Grubbin in case that happens, or I'm not going to Sycamore the Rare Candy, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So it's like, even though I hadn't played the deck, I still, I don't know, and I've played a lot of Pokemon in my life, so I don't really feel like uncomfortable playing a deck as long as I really know what it's doing. But even though I hadn't played this deck much, I felt fine about playing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than the fact that it was Bulu.
So after this weekend, from being someone who was anti-Bulu to being someone who played at a tournament, you think you're still kind of on that anti-Bulu train, or are you finally a Bulu believer?
The deck is really linear. You just don't have any room to really outplay your opponent, or to really do anything else for a game plan, or to adapt if your opponent has something interesting in their deck. You're really susceptible to stuff like Sudowoodo. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong, but really it's just the metagame. If the metagame is right like this, and the Garb decks are kind of on the decline, stuff like Buzzwole is kind of not being played as much in favor of Lucario, and then these weird Greninja, Hoopa decks come out and stuff. Then it's worth playing Bulu, and it's I personally don't really care about what deck I play. I just want to play whatever deck I think is best for the tournament.
Right.
But that said, I do think Bulu is good. The deck was surprisingly consistent all weekend. I know when I played Ross, he was like, I tested this deck a bunch, and I just didn't think it was very good. It just wasn't consistent enough. And I'm like, oh, I never tested the deck. He's like, oh, that's why you played it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to test it more before I play it again. But I mean, I top forward. Kiga got top 16 again, 2 weekends in a row.
It was 11th and 10th, back to back. Yeah.
Azul 128 this tournament, and I mean 128 is not great, but I mean he still set up more than he didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think the consistency was fine. You don't need Bridget. I don't know. The deck it feels pretty good if you can go if you can start with a Grubbin, nest ball for a Grubbin, Lele Skylar Rare Candy, and then pass. Your turn. And then it's you make your opponent give you a new hand or get an easy Vikavolt. That kind of stuff just feels so good. And it happens really often. Yeah, so I would say I'm probably a Bulu believer at this point.
All right, well, there it is. We heard it here. So what does this put you at championship point-wise?
I'm at 744 now, I think.
Okay. So
and I was telling you before.
Yeah.
I knew going into this weekend that a top 4 or better would put me into top 16. But what I didn't account for was that Xander was also right about where I was in points going in. And so if he top 4 or better, then I would have to do better than him, or else he would get top 16 and I wouldn't. And Xander won the tournament, so now Xander's in top 16 and I am 17th.
Well, you've been on that cusp of 16th and 17th in the past, so hopefully becomes one of those times like last year where you are able to make it in. So
Yeah, last year I was on the inside looking out, and this year I'm on the outside looking in.
yeah,
I think just one more spike, one more big tournament will do it.
well,
so hopefully.
Hopefully it'll happen, man, and I really enjoyed doing this with you, so I appreciate you taking some time to come on and sit down with me this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if I do this again, maybe they just call it the Trainer Chip and Alex channel.
Maybe so. Guys, speaking of which, Alex does have an old YouTube channel. You should check out some of his old pack opening videos. It's very funny to watch. But
my pack opening videos, my one old deck video that Chip likes to watch.
So maybe there'll be a link to that in the description somewhere. Who knows? But speaking of which, I'll give you a chance here if you want to do any sort of shout-outs, social media plugs, anything like that, man. The floor is yours.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record over here.
Yeah.
How's the quickest way I can do this? Twitch, Team Polyswag. I stream a couple times a week. Mm-hmm. Twitter, Kazambolt. You can find out when I'm going streaming and stuff. And if you want to support me or a bunch of cool writers, go to sixprizes.com. Check out Underground. We put out 2, 3, 4 articles a week. Looking like 4 this week, so go check that out.
Sweet. Thanks a bunch, Alex. Guys, thanks for watching. Definitely leave a like down below if you enjoyed, and feel free to check out all of that stuff. As always, it'll be linked in the description. And that is going to do it for us. For me and Alex, we're going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.